Life is full of tough lessons, especially when it comes to understanding people. In this video, we'll talk about some harsh truths you need to accept about others. These truths might be hard to hear, but once you accept them, you'll find more peace and freedom in your life. Using the wisdom of Stoicism, we'll explore how to stay calm, strong, and true to yourself, no matter how people act around you. Let's dive into these eye-opening truths. 1. People are self-interested. Most people naturally focus on their own needs and desires. It's not because they're selfish or mean, it's just human nature. Everyone has their own struggles, goals, and dreams that they are trying to achieve. When we understand this, it becomes easier to stop expecting others to always put us first. Think about how often you're caught up in your own thoughts and worries. Everyone else is doing the same. We're all navigating life, trying to make sense of our own problems, and sometimes we don't have the time or energy to focus on others. Accepting this helps us see that people aren't ignoring us out of spite. They're just managing their own lives. It's important to remember that expecting others to fulfill all your needs or give you constant attention leads to disappointment. People have limited energy and resources, so they tend to prioritize themselves. Instead of getting upset when someone doesn't meet your expectations, try to understand that they're doing what they think is best for them. This doesn't mean people can't be kind or generous. Many are. But even acts of kindness often come from a place of wanting to feel good about themselves or strengthen their relationships. It's rare for someone to completely put another person's needs above their own, and that's okay. This is simply how people operate. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control, our own actions, reactions, and emotions. You can't control other people's behavior or make them less self-focused, but you can control how you respond to it. Instead of feeling hurt or neglected, focus on becoming more self-reliant and emotionally resilient. When you stop expecting people to always think about your needs, you become more peaceful and less frustrated. You realize that you are responsible for your own happiness and that relying too much on others can lead to disappointment. By accepting this truth, you set yourself free from unrealistic expectations and develop stronger inner strength. 2. Not everyone will like you. No matter how kind, friendly, or helpful you are, not everyone will like you. This can be a hard truth to accept, but it's a normal part of life. People have different personalities, preferences, and experiences that shape how they see the world. Sometimes these differences mean that certain people just won't connect with you, and that's okay. It's important to understand that not being liked doesn't reflect your worth. You could be doing everything right, but someone might still have a negative opinion of you. Maybe it's because of their personal biases, past experiences, or simply a clash in personalities. Instead of worrying about what others think, it's better to stay true to who you are. Chasing approval from everyone will only leave you feeling frustrated and exhausted. When you try to please everyone, you lose sight of your own values and identity. The Stoics believed that seeking external validation is a path to misery because you can't control other people's opinions. What you can control is how you live your life according to your own principles. It's freeing when you accept that you don't need to be liked by everyone. You don't have to change yourself to fit someone else's expectations or win their approval. By focusing on being your authentic self, you will naturally attract people who appreciate and respect you for who you truly are. Another key lesson is that those who don't like you often have their own issues or reasons that have nothing to do with you. It might be their insecurity, jealousy, or just a difference in values. When you realize this, it becomes easier not to take things personally. Instead of feeling hurt, you can simply move on and focus on the people who do support you. In the end, Life is too short to worry about pleasing everyone. Accepting that not everyone will like you helps you live more freely and confidently. You'll feel more at peace knowing that the opinions of others don't define you. What matters is how you view yourself and whether you're living in line with your own values. 3. People are inconsistent. One of the hardest things to accept is that people can be unpredictable. One day they might be kind and supportive, and the next day distant or even indifferent. This inconsistency is part of human nature, and it's something we all experience. People's moods, circumstances, and priorities change, often without warning, and this can make relationships challenging. Sometimes people act differently based on how they feel in the moment. They might be going through something stressful or emotional that affects how they treat others. It's easy to take this personally, but often it has nothing to do with you. Understanding that people's actions are often a reflection of their own internal struggles helps you avoid unnecessary hurt. Inconsistency can be frustrating, especially when someone you care about suddenly changes their behavior or doesn't meet your expectations. But Stoicism teaches us not to rely too heavily on others for our emotional stability. People will change, and their actions are out of your control. What you can control is how you respond to these changes. Instead of feeling frustrated by the inconsistency of others, try to accept it as a part of life. People are complex, and their actions won't always make sense. This doesn't mean they don't care about you or that they're unreliable. It just means they're human, with all the flaws and unpredictability that comes with that. When you accept that people are inconsistent, you become more resilient. You stop expecting others to always act in a certain way, which reduces disappointment and frustration. This mindset helps you build stronger relationships because you're more understanding and less reactive when someone's behavior shifts unexpectedly. In the end, the key is to focus on your own stability. While others may be inconsistent, you can remain steady by staying grounded in your own values and emotional balance. This way, you won't be easily shaken by the ups and downs of others, and you'll find more peace in your interactions with people. 4. Not everyone will stay in your life. One of life's toughest truths is that not everyone will stay with you forever. People come and go for various reasons. Sometimes it's due to changing circumstances, personal growth, or even misunderstandings. No matter how strong a relationship seems, people will eventually move on, and that's a part of life we all have to accept. Some people are only meant to be in your life for a short time. They might enter during a specific period when you need them or when they need you, but once that time passes, the relationship fades. It can be painful to let go, but understanding that every connection has its season can help you find peace. Sometimes people drift apart simply because they grow in different directions. As we evolve, our interests, values, and life paths change. Friendships or relationships that once felt solid may no longer fit who we've become. It's important to realize that this doesn't mean the relationship was a failure. It served its purpose at the time. It's natural to feel sadness or loss when someone leaves your life, but clinging to people who are meant to move on will only cause more pain. Stoicism teaches us to embrace impermanence and let go with grace. Everything in life is temporary, including relationships. By accepting this, you can learn to appreciate people while they're with you, without holding on too tightly. Letting go doesn't mean you didn't care about the person or that the relationship wasn't important. It simply means you understand that change is inevitable. Life flows, and people come and go as part of that flow. Instead of resisting it, try to focus on the lessons and memories they've left behind. In the end, accepting that not everyone will stay in your life allows you to live with more openness and less fear. You'll cherish the moments you have with people, knowing that nothing lasts forever, and you'll be ready to move forward when it's time to say goodbye. This mindset brings freedom and helps you live more fully in the present. 5. People project their own issues. A tough but important truth is that people often project their own problems and insecurities onto others. When someone criticizes or behaves negatively toward you, it usually reflects their own internal struggles rather than something about you. This projection can stem from their fears, insecurities, or unresolved issues. For example, if someone is constantly worried about their own worth, they might criticize others in an attempt to make themselves feel better. Their harsh words or actions aren't necessarily about you, but about how they're feeling inside. Understanding this helps you not take their negativity personally. People often project their issues because it's easier to blame others than to confront their own problems. If someone is feeling inadequate, they might point out flaws in others to distract themselves from their own shortcomings. This behavior is less about you and more about their need to cope with their own emotions. Stoicism teaches us to maintain our inner peace by focusing on our own responses. When you realize that others' negative behavior is a reflection of their issues, you can remain more centered and less affected by their actions. Instead of getting upset, you can respond with empathy and detachment, understanding that their behavior isn't a true measure of your worth. It's also helpful to remember that everyone has their own battles, and projecting their issues onto others is a way for them to handle their own struggles. By recognizing this, you can approach these situations with compassion rather than frustration. This perspective helps you keep your interactions with others more balanced and less emotionally charged. In the end, accepting that people project their own issues onto others allows you to navigate relationships with greater understanding and resilience. You'll find it easier to let go of negative feelings and focus on maintaining your own peace of mind, knowing that others' behavior is often more about them than it is about you. 6. People will disappoint you. It's an inevitable part of life that people will let you down from time to time. No matter how close you are to someone or how high your expectations might be, there will be moments when people fail to meet your hopes or promises. This can be tough to deal with, but it's an important reality to accept. Everyone has limitations and flaws, and sometimes these lead to disappointment. A friend might forget an important event, a partner might fall short of your expectations, or a colleague might not deliver on a promise. These letdowns can be disheartening, but understanding that no one is perfect helps you manage your expectations better. When you accept that people will disappoint you, you can avoid putting unrealistic expectations on them. Instead of expecting perfection, try to appreciate people for who they are and acknowledge their limitations. This shift in mindset helps you be more forgiving and less hurt when things don't go as planned. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control, our own responses and actions. While you can't control how others behave, you can choose how you react to their disappointments. By maintaining your own emotional balance and not letting others' failures dictate your happiness, you'll find it easier to cope with letdowns. Disappointments can also be opportunities for growth. When people let you down, it's a chance to reflect on your own expectations and how you handle setbacks. This self-awareness helps you build resilience and improves your ability to navigate future disappointments with a more balanced perspective. In the end, accepting that people will disappoint you allows you to build stronger, more realistic relationships. You'll find it easier to manage your expectations, respond to setbacks with grace, and maintain your inner peace, knowing that disappointments are a natural part of life and not a reflection of your own worth. 7. You can't change people. One of the most challenging truths to accept is that you can't change other people. No matter how much you might want someone to behave differently, act better, or make different choices, ultimately, you have no control over their actions or decisions. This realization can be freeing and frustrating at the same time. People change only if they truly want to. You can offer advice, support, and encouragement, but the decision to change must come from within them. Trying to force change or constantly pushing someone to be different only leads to frustration and strained relationships. Recognizing this helps you focus your energy on what you can control, your own actions and responses. Instead of trying to change others, focus on accepting them as they are. People have their own values, habits, and ways of thinking that are shaped by their experiences and personalities. When you accept them without trying to alter them, you build more authentic and respectful relationships. This acceptance doesn't mean you have to agree with everything they do, but it does mean you stop trying to mold them into something they're not. Stoicism teaches us to manage our expectations and focus on our own behavior. By acknowledging that you can't change others, you can redirect your efforts toward improving yourself and how you interact with others. This shift in focus helps you maintain your peace of mind and emotional balance. It's also important to recognize that people will change on their own timeline and in their own way. Sometimes they may surprise you with personal growth or new perspectives, but this is out of your control. Embrace the fact that change is a personal journey for each individual, and your role is to support rather than dictate. In the end, accepting that you can't change people allows you to build healthier relationships and maintain your own emotional well-being. By focusing on what you can control, your own growth and reactions, you'll find more peace and fulfillment in your interactions with others. 8. Most people fear vulnerability. One of the often overlooked truths is that many people are afraid to be vulnerable. Vulnerability means showing your true self, including your fears, insecurities, and emotions. For many, this is a scary thing because it opens them up to potential judgment, rejection, or hurt. As a result, people often put up emotional walls or masks to protect themselves. Fear of vulnerability can lead people to hide their true feelings behind a facade of confidence or indifference. They might act tough or detached to avoid revealing their inner struggles. This defense mechanism is a way to shield themselves from the pain of being judged or hurt by others. When you understand that most people fear vulnerability, you can approach them with more empathy and patience. Recognize that their guarded behavior is not necessarily a reflection of their feelings about you, but rather a way of protecting themselves. This awareness helps you interact with others in a more compassionate and understanding way. Stoicism teaches us to focus on our own responses rather than trying to change others. While you can't force someone to be open or vulnerable, you can model vulnerability yourself. By sharing your own feelings and experiences honestly, you create a space where others might feel safer to open up as well. Being vulnerable yourself also helps you build deeper and more genuine connections with others. When you show your true self, you invite others to do the same, which can lead to more meaningful relationships. It's about creating a space where honesty and trust can flourish, even if it's a gradual process. In the end, accepting that most people fear vulnerability allows you to approach relationships with greater empathy and patience. You'll understand that their guardedness is often a reflection of their own fears, not a judgment of you. This mindset helps you navigate interactions with more compassion and encourages deeper, more authentic connections. 9. People are often distracted by short-term gratification. Many people are focused on immediate pleasures and quick fixes rather than long-term goals and meaningful achievements. This craving for instant gratification can lead people to make choices based on what feels good right now, rather than considering what will benefit them in the long run. Short-term gratification might come in the form of indulging in unhealthy foods, spending money impulsively, or seeking temporary relief from stress through distractions like social media. While these choices can provide immediate satisfaction, they often come with long-term consequences that aren't always considered in the moment. Understanding that many people are driven by short-term desires can help you approach them with more empathy. Recognize that their choices might be influenced by their need for quick rewards or immediate pleasure. This awareness can also help you avoid being frustrated or judgmental about their behavior. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what truly matters and to seek long-term fulfillment rather than temporary pleasure. By prioritizing meaningful goals and values, you can avoid getting caught up in the pursuit of short-term gratification. This approach helps you stay on a path that aligns with your deeper aspirations and leads to lasting satisfaction. It's also important to remember that everyone is on their own journey and will come to their own realizations at their own pace. While you can't control others' choices, you can focus on making decisions that support your long-term well-being and growth. By setting an example and living according to your values, you may inspire others to reflect on their own choices. In the end, accepting that people are often distracted by short-term gratification helps you approach relationships and interactions with greater understanding. You'll recognize that their focus on immediate pleasures is a common part of human behavior and choose to stay true to your own long-term goals and values. 10. People are impermanent. One of the hardest truths to accept is that people are impermanent. Just like everything else in life, relationships and connections are subject to change. People come into our lives, make an impact, and then sometimes move on, whether through life changes, growing apart, or even passing away. Recognizing the impermanence of people can be difficult because it often means dealing with loss and change. It might be the end of a friendship, a breakup, or the passing of a loved one. These moments of transition can bring sadness and a sense of instability, but understanding that impermanence is a natural part of life helps you cope with these changes. Accepting impermanence helps you cherish the time you have with others. Instead of taking relationships for granted, you learn to appreciate and make the most of the moments you share. This awareness encourages you to express your feelings and gratitude more openly, knowing that time with others is precious and finite. Stoicism teaches us to embrace the transient nature of life. By acknowledging that people, like everything else, are temporary, you can approach relationships with a more balanced perspective. You'll understand that while connections are valuable, they are also subject to change, and that's a normal part of life's flow. When you accept the impermanence of people, you also become more resilient in the face of change. You learn to let go with grace and to move forward without being overly attached or distressed by the departure of others. This mindset helps you maintain inner peace and adaptability as life evolves. In the end, accepting that people are impermanent allows you to live more fully in the present. You'll appreciate each moment and relationship more deeply, knowing that everything is in constant flux. This perspective brings a sense of freedom and helps you navigate life's changes with greater ease and acceptance. Conclusion. Embracing these harsh truths about people can transform how you experience relationships and navigate life. By accepting that people are self-interested, inconsistent, and impermanent, you can build stronger, more resilient connections and find greater peace within yourself. Remember, understanding others' behaviors and limitations helps you manage your expectations and focus on what truly matters. If you found this video helpful, Don't forget to hit that like button and share it with friends who might benefit from these insights. And for more content on personal growth and Stoic wisdom, be sure to subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.